August 20th is my date, UFC 202, the real 200, and I will have my redemption.
UFC 202, the real UFC 200. This is what the Notorious One just said during his last press conference in July prior to his contest against Nick's little bro, Nate Diaz. And you know what, it's really very hard to argue on that, knowing that on the one hand, Conor carried the UFC on his shoulders during 2015 by generating more than $400 million for the promotion. $400 million, more than that, almost $500 million, which is extremely big. And it's really something that we didn't see since the Brock Lesnar's days during his first run in the UFC. And on the other hand, the so-called UFC 200 was impacted severely and even ruined by USADA, the UFC drug testing program that caught one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time in John Bones Jones on PEDs, and later on Brock Lesnar for the same purpose. And this was never really explained by the UFC, even if the piece was tested before the event, which is a huge black spot in the UFC credibility, in my opinion. Anyway, for the August 20th event, it would show 100% the best version of the two men involved in the main event that everybody has waited for, which is really obvious in my opinion, as Nate's having this time a full camp and intends to take really over after taking part of Conor's momentum and hype in the last battle during UFC 196, which ended with a rear naked choke for Nate Diaz. And also because of the Irish fighters in Conor McGregor huge obsession with this rematch to make real proof of his coach Joel Canada quote, "You win or you learn," even if no UFC gold is on the line this time. So this is a very huge main event, even no UFC belt is on the line, and for me it will break some records on the book. It would be really very huge, and I can't really wait for this. Other big fights of course are yet to be expected for the same event, the co-main event between Anthony Rambit Johnson and Glover Teixeira, which will be definitely for the #1 contender spot in the 205 division. It would be for sure be like a title eliminator, and the winner of this contest will for sure face the undisputed light heavyweight champion Daniel DC Cormier. So it's very important for this division. And the Donald Cerrone contests against Rex Story. Rex Story is very underrated, I think, in the 170 division, but for me it's really a very tough opponent. He's really no joke, and Donald Cerrone needs really to take seriously this opponent. And I think that for Donald Cerrone this is a huge opportunity for him to cross the top 10 of the welterweight division, and he has really to take over this time. And last and not least, the Cody Garbrandt versus the Takeya Mizukaki, the veteran of the 135 division. It's a very important contest for the future of this division, because Cody knows that a win over Takeya with a great fashion would earn him a title shot against the dominating Dominic Cruz, or at least in the worst cases a big fight against, why not, his old teammate TJ Dillashaw for the #1 contender spot. So I can't wait for this big event. It's really a very important event. So please expect in the coming hours full previews about the main and the co-main events and much more regarding the UFC 202. It's gonna be much more technical, and it will cover 3 or 4 fights of this huge event, UFC 202. So please subscribe in the MMA Life. See you. Thank you very much.